after further review.
What is going on, everyone? We are at episode 40, milestone episode, and we are excited for this one. Next week, episode 41, we're going to go live doing giveaways, so you guys better be there on YouTube. But yeah, we're going to get right into some good stuff. How's everyone doing?
Doing great. You already know episode 40 of this, looking a lot more forward to this than whenever it's time for my 40th birthday. So I'm just pumped right now.
How many years till that?
13.
Oh, okay.
So
Starting the countdown.
Spooky number 13.
But no, what we got on tap tonight, Ben?
Yeah, I think we talked about it last week. We're going to do some deep dives into some quarterback play. I think we've all recognized there's been some, down quarterback play this year in general, just offenses not clicking like they usually are. And we kind of just want to do a little deeper dive into, past years and see just kind of maybe analyze a little what's going on in the NFL with, they want more passing, they want more offense, but it's kind of backfiring a bit this year.
Yeah, of course. With that, we'll touch on the NFL too. Maybe swing through the Aaron Nola signing. That was huge. And, anything else that comes to our minds. It's kind of a free balling show, and we're excited. Obviously, a lot to unpack with the NFL, though. So we'll start there. Week 11 started off on Thursday night, Ravens, Bengals. And I don't know if we want to get right into the Ravens rant with Chase, just to start off how week 11's been so far.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, big divisional win for you guys and a little help there. I saw our friend Matt was at the game too. My cousin Sarah was also at the game, although rooting for the Bengals. But but yeah, that was a tough one for the Bengals fans, but a big win for the Ravens regardless, and puts them in a good spot moving forward.
Yeah, they asserted themselves in the division. They needed a win against the Bengals, so they sweep that series, thankfully. Although they now have to deal with the losses to the to the Browns and the Steelers. But it was a big win. We talked last week about how Odell Beckham needed to get some volume and he was going to pop off. And that's exactly what happened. He got targeted a lot and went off. Didn't get a touchdown, however, though, ending his streak. But I'll still take the fact that he went off in that game, especially now that we lost Mark Andrews for the year. That's a pretty big loss, especially for the offense. And Isaiah Likely, who's been the number 2 tight end, hasn't really asserted himself at any point in games this season. I feel like that's a fact of he hasn't been schemed up a lot, but he has a lot of shoe to fill in the Ravens offense now that he's the number 1 tight end. So moving forward, obviously it's a big win, but also a big loss at the same time. And I'd almost rather have lost that game and kept Mark Andrews for the rest of the year, just because he's a big focal point. Now teams are really going to be able to have one less person to scheme up against, which is at a tough position to be in, especially heading towards the bones of their schedule. Other than that, it was a good win. It sucks for the Bengals, though, because now that they lost Joe Burrow and the Browns have lost Deshaun Watson. So in a week, 2 of the division teams have lost their starting quarterbacks, which has been Lamar's MO. So hopefully, knock on wood, that we aren't in the same boat for the last 3 seasons where he's been out for the last second half of the year. So good for them. They have the bye week coming up too. It's one of the latest bye weeks in the NFL, all the way back there. And they played in London and didn't take the bye week after, which teams had the option to do, and they deferred it to later. So in hindsight, it was probably a good move to keep the momentum going. And now you get that rest later in the season when you really need it. So overall, great win for the Ravens. Hopefully we can stay healthy for the rest of the year. Really keep it to them. Our win total's high. So for John Harbaugh, his job is secured once again. Fortunately and unfortunately for me, but I'll take it.
Yeah, that's tough to be 11 games in and finally have their bye week. I'm sure players are very excited for that. You got to be so sore.
Yeah, probably didn't really have much of a factor with Andrews. I'm still on the train with the NFL should do what every other sport does and have like the all-star break. They could have everyone. I know week 11 is not. Week 12 is going to be the Ravens bye, but I don't know, week 10, week 11, just have every team take their bye then for the most. Every other sport does the all-star break midway through. That's just my opinion, though. You probably don't. That probably didn't have anything to do with the Mark Andrews injury, though. Just him being like gassed. I mean, it was more of how he got tackled on the play. So it's not like that had anything to do with it. But yeah, Chase, it's crazy. AFC North probably a huge surprise this year. I mean, we were through over halfway through the season. Every team was over 500. Every team a chance to legitimately make the playoffs. And all of a sudden, Deshaun Watson goes down and Burrow goes down. And I wanted to ask: do you guys think the Joe Burrow thing was sketchy? I mean, they showed the clip of him walking into the facility with already an issue with his wrist. Nothing. Like I heard nothing about it all week, and then just on a normal pass, out for the season. Like seems a little sus. I think the NFL's investigating, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely seemed odd that his hand was the size of a balloon after he threw the football and he was wearing a guard on it previous to that. I think it's definitely a little bit sketchy for them, not reporting it, but you can see why. However, on the flip side, Terrell Suggs, formerly of the Baltimore Ravens, used to fake injuries a lot just so he would think that just so he would put it in the opposing team's head that he was compromised when in fact he wouldn't be. He would even go as far to wear a brace on his shoulder and his shoulder wouldn't even be hurt. And he would talk all week about how he hurt his shoulder, literally play up an entirely fake injury just to play the game that way so people would try to target at him. So you have two of the complete polar opposite situations. Obviously, for the Bengals, it was trying to hide something, and hopefully it wouldn't have been an issue. But obviously, his throwing hand, it's going to be hard to deal with. And any little type of small injury, falling backward, banging his hand off a helmet, getting it jammed was going to obviously compromise it. So it's tough to see. I like playing teams at full strength just to see what they got. And it sucked because it really took the Bengals out. Now for the rest of the year, I mean, they could lose every single game, and I don't think anyone would be totally surprised by that. I mean, their defense still has heart; they're really good, but that's a tough ask for Jake Browning to step in and do what Burrow's been able to do. I mean, granted, the rest of their team is for the most part healthy and they have weapons galore, but that's a tough task.
Yeah, and that's with Burrow. I mean, he was a rookie in 2020. This is his what, fifth year now, and this is his second season-ending injury. I think I saw he's been hit more times than Luck was in his first 5 years, and just the offensive line not protecting him. And I mean, when he's on the field, he's a great quarterback, but it's been tough for him. They picked up a piece or two in the offseason to kind of help solidify that line, but he's still been. I mean, the first couple games of the year they looked awful, then they kind of get into a groove, and now he got hurt again. And to your point, Ryan, I don't know. There was like some rumors going around, like NFL, like they were could there have been a cover up as far as betting purposes. Like people didn't want them to know with that because all the money was already like Ravens. And I thought it was
Yes,
funny
yes,
though
yes.
that Dave Portnoy had put like 120K on the Bengals to win the Super Bowl like the week before. It's pretty
Oh,
funny.
Oh, not mad about
hard
that.
loss. Oh, and I was just to say the Bengals offensive line, typically I feel like when teams are building, they spend a lot of resources on offensive line. And the Bengals kind of back themselves into getting a quarterback and not having a great offensive line. So they've been trying to piece it together and it's just not been good. The results that they've gotten. Lyle Collins has been in and out for them. They tried to shore up left tackle with Orlando Brown Jr. He's been somewhat up and down too.
Yeah.
And the fact they haven't tried to go get high end talent for the offensive line seems like a big mistake, especially now that your quarterback's out for the year. So for the Bengals, obviously their to-do list should revolve solely around that offensive line.
Yeah, well, and to think about the division they're in, I mean, with the Steelers, Ravens and Browns, like all those defensive lines are fierce and probably some of the best in the NFL.
It's what the
Yeah.
division's
Yeah,
based
that's
off
literally
of.
like that
Yeah.
13-10 Browns Steelers game. Like that's what a lot of times you're going to get in that division.
Yeah,
So,
you're
Yeah.
seven. You the box basically. You're four
yeah,
linemen. You're three
I mean,
linebackers.
yeah,
Like
when you got like Miles Garrett, TJ Watt, like even like
Yeah.
Roquan Smith, like those guys, you're gonna need some serious help up front to protect your quarterback.
Yeah. And they've just put what seems like minimal. I'm sure a Bengals fan would like to debate me on that, but just from the outside, I would be annoyed that they haven't spent more time. It's like with the Ravens and a wide receiver. I was just banging my head against the table until they went out this past year and did a lot for that. So, I feel like the Bengals fans, maybe that's their biggest gripe. Maybe it's not. Who knows?
Yeah, and I just saw with the Ravens, Chase. I didn't realize Roquan Smith how many like total tackles he had this year. I know
Oh
he's not
yeah.
first, but he's just been raking with like tackles.
I feel
Yeah,
like
he had 22 against the Browns, I'm pretty sure. Combined, but still 22.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
he's second.
and I feel like he was doing that on the Bears too. Like,
Oh yeah.
dude's just a monster. Oh my gosh, him and Patrick Queen as your two inside linebackers are is just
Yeah. And then you got Geno Stone leading the league in interceptions, who had one
Yeah.
like
I
combined.
know. A seventh round pick, somebody who should be an afterthought in the starting lineup doing the work.
Stuff you don't
yeah.
hear about.
I mean, getting the pieces you need is a lot easier said than done, especially from us on the outside. And I want to pivot to the Jets because QB, right? I mean, they have all the pieces. This is the Aaron Rodgers year. It obviously doesn't work out. And I mean, I don't know, Ben. You picked the Jets money line. Their defense came out. They gave up a turnover on the opening kickoff
Oh yeah,
and just 3-and-out field
fumbled
goal.
the opening kickoff.
Yeah, but then they held the defense came out. Quentin Williams is a monster. I love his energy and his fire. And I mean, you have a stout defense. I like Salah. I think he's a good coach.
I like solid.
You're 1 and 2 running backs easily. I know Dalvin Cook's not having the best year, but I put them two against almost anyone else in the league.
I mean, defenses are stacking the box against the Jets, which I don't blame them. I mean, there's no reason to not stack the box.
No, but I mean, it just here we go. Like I know we've talked about it every week. Zach Wilson finally Salah gets to his breaking point and benches him for
Not just benched. He moved to the third
yeah
string.
now, but in game,
Yeah, but
Boyle.
he's third string quarterback now.
Yeah,
He's
and
not
I
even
mean,
backup. They moved him down to third.
it's just
Dang.
I don't know. You're watching the game, you're watching his reads, and it's tough. I mean, he could be a Geno Smith, and in 6, 7, not even 6, 7, but 3, 4 years on the bench, just learning and just really truly developing as a player. But right now he's lost out there, and it's just crazy. Like, oh, easier said than done. Let's get some QB depth. That way, if we have some issue, I mean, they had to know Aaron Rodgers is 39. Like, you have to know there's a little bit of sketchiness, especially playing on that sketchy turf field all the time. But
I mean, they probably thought worst case is we give Zach Wilson another shot. I don't think they thought it was going to be this early when they had to give him another shot. But even the games that they won, it wasn't really. Yeah, Zach Wilson had some good drives, but it wasn't really Zach Wilson playing amazing. But now you have Tim Boyle as the starter, Simeon as the backup, and then Wilson
God.
as the third string quarterback.
Ugh.
It's now the 1 through 3. So
the Jets are 4-6.
playing Miami Friday, which is such a stupid time for a
dumbest thing
3 o'clock on a Friday.
No,
What is the NFL?
I'm not
doing?
watching it. I'm sorry, Ben.
That's ridiculous. I'm gonna probably be at work still,
I'm gonna be traveling. I'm literally gonna be driving from one
or
house
maybe
to
at
another.
Kohl's, some Black Friday shopping.
So,
But no,
is their season over? 4-6 chance.
I mean, they
chance
all
Rodgers
just
comes back.
it all seemed like they gave up. I mean, even Garrett Wilson had a really bad fumble. It seemed like a lot of the team was just giving up last game.
Is their season over?
It's going to be hard.
Not yet. Okay, not yet. Just say not yet.
I'm not going to
never
say it's
know.
over because I don't want to root for it to be over, but it's not. They have some winnable games coming up. Like they play the Falcons, they get to play the Commanders, they get to play the Patriots. Those are winnable games. But they have to play the Dolphins twice. That's not great. Browns are a winnable game, but I don't know. I could see them going 8-9.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Raiders, they bench Jimmy G. They win the next 2 games. I know they're not anything spectacular, but
They also fired their head coach.
they did also fire their head coach. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was a crazy week for sure, and just
It seems like so much to ask just to have the Jets get in the playoffs. Like it's been 12 years, 13 years, 12 or 13 years since the Jets even made the playoffs. Just made the playoffs. I'm not even asking for a playoff win. Just to see a Jets playoff football game seems like a ridiculous amount to ask. So no,
I
I'm
mean,
not.
if Rodgers can come back, do you want him to like say they're 500, say they even out their record, and
It's
it's
I
like they're 7-7,
yeah,
8-8 even. There's one game left in the regular season. They're 8-8. Rodgers can come back,
and they
and it's
can
a
get a
win and you're
wild
in.
card.
Yeah, it's a win and you're in
I mean, you play the
situation.
Patriots, so I would. I don't know.
Even if he's like 70% healthy,
It depends where they are because their last three games they play the Commanders, Browns, and Patriots. If they can get to a place before those last three games where they have a chance, then maybe. But I also would. Rogers is gonna come back healthy, full steam ahead next year. I'd also. I feel like I'd rather just have him do that.
just save it, get the
Yeah,
draft pick, and
I'd rather just have him be fully healthy next year. Everyone kind of regroup, know that Rogers is, maybe get another backup that's not Zach Wilson just because.
It's a crazy NFL season. I think one of the craziest. And I feel like we should just break. I think we should just go right into the QB talk because it's just, you got one more thing
Real
then?
quick before we go in the QB target, I want to just mention Khalil Mack again. He had another two sacks, up to 11 on the year now. He's only two behind the sacks leader.
Myles Garrett. Myles
Is
Garrett's not.
Miles Garrett not the sack, or is he the sack leader?
Thought
Did he have a
so.
big game last game?
Isn't
oh,
he
I
at
thought it was
13?
Daniil Hunter. Maybe it's
That's what
not.
I thought it was, but unless he had a, I don't know. I didn't update last game.
I know last
Oh yeah,
night.
Garrett. He must have had a big game. So Hunter Garrett is at 13, Hunter's at 12, TJ Watt's at 11 and a half, and Khalil Mack's at 11. So
Dang.
Khalil Mack's having a resurgent year. I love to see it. Daniil Hunter, I looked up his stats. Dude, that guy just does his thing, and I feel like no one ever talks about him. He's still only
No.
29.
I've
Yeah.
never heard about him before. I watched that game last night, and
Oh, he's had a couple bad injuries, but otherwise he's a beast when he's on the field.
He's at 83 career sacks, and he's 29. And like every year, besides the like two, he has like 11, 12, 13, 14 sacks.
Yeah. And he was super young when he got into the league. He was like one of the youngest guys in his draft class.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize that. And Khalil Mack, so he's up to 95 and a half now. I think he's getting towards that Hall of Fame threshold. I think he's going to get there.
Do you think he gets 100 by the end of the year?
how many's he at?
He needs what? He needs a 15 and a half sack year. So he needs 4.5 more. He could.
That 6 sack game really helped him out.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
did. That
You're
really
not gonna.
jump started stuff.
I mean, that'd be a career high for him.
Would
In
it
sacks.
really?
He's never had more than 15.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, he's had some really he's had some years where he had like 12 and a half, but then he also had like 7 forced fumbles, and
The Chargers are going to make a push. They're going to need him to probably.
the Chargers might be done. Fire their coach. Anyway, we can get back to quarterback. Just want to touch on Khalil Mack because we've been talking about him a little bit.
No, I mean, I don't even want to I'm trying to just think about the matchups we've seen this year, and it's just the QBs all over the place. I mean, that DTR now on the Browns, Browning on the Bengals, Sam Howell, Taylor Heineke, Riddler. I mean, I'm sure I'm missing. Josh Dobbs has been
Yeah.
left
Your
and
boy.
right. It's not
Tommy
my boy.
DeVito.
Tommy DeVito, like, what in the world is going on? And injuries or no injuries, because I know obviously there's plenty of quarterback injuries this year, probably more so than recent past. But overall, we keep saying that we just think in general the QB play is down. I mean, I feel like Mahomes isn't even having like a Mahomes year, right? And it's crazy. It's crazy, and we can get into it right now. So here we go. You already know, is today's QB yesterday's QB?
I like it. So we're gonna start. Basically, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna kind of compare some QB seasons, and we're gonna go with 2002 first, 2012, 2022, and then kind of look at this year, kind of where we are compared to last year. So we haven't looked at any of these kind of stats ahead of time, And we're just gonna kind of analyze it right on the spot.
Yeah, the biggest thing is, I mean, you think of sports today, players are more athletic, players have more of an IQ, faster, stronger, can have the best food, workout ethic, ways to stay healthy. Combine that with like the last 2000 and up. QB play, passing, penalties to help the offense, this, that, and the other thing. There should be no signs pointing to, especially when the NFL wants the QBs to shine more so than anyone else, any team, they want QBs, they want yards, they want CJ Stroud 500 yards every game by everybody. For some reason, it feels like it's not leaning that way. And I don't know if it's just this year, if it's the last couple, if defenses are playing better, if it just happens to be unlucky injuries, but we're about to dive in and break it down right now. Here we go.
All right, 2002.
This is backyard football territory.
Yeah. So leading the league in passing yards is Mr. Rich Gannon.
So just quickly go down. Just give me like the first 8, Ben. Give us the first 8.
Do you want to do passing yards or should we do QBR?
That's fine. Yeah. Passing yards is fine.
All right. Well, passing yards, we got Rich Gannon, Drew Bledsoe, Peyton Manning, Kerry Collins, Dante Culpepper, Tom Brady, Trent Green, and Brett Favre.
Okay. And then what's like your next 4? You're right outside of elite.
Brad Johnson with one of the best TD to pick ratios.
Steve McNair's down there.
Is that when they won the Super Bowl, by the way? Brad Johnson and the Bucks, 2002?
Yes.
Oh.
That was the year with Warren Sapp that went off.
All the touchdown and interceptions are like really close together.
Yeah, pretty low. The top, only 28 touchdowns, the most in the league, and just Brady. Feels like pretty low.
Yeah, okay. So I will say, so looking at the 2002 year, I mean, we just picked a random year, right? But I'll read them again. Tom Brady, obviously notable. Aaron Brooks, Brett Favre is a big one. Peyton Manning's a big one. Rich Gannon was pretty consistent, I feel like. But I don't know, different guys. Drew Bledsoe, Kerry Collins, Dante Culpepper. A lot of names, a lot of great quarterback play, but nothing outstanding. So I feel like this doesn't really help our case to really see that.
Dante Culpepper went 18 for 23 in touchdowns and interceptions.
And he's known probably as like one of the best in that time era, right?
Probably. Yeah, maybe for like, I feel like it was a big like thrower. So I feel like it's kind of not surprising.
I mean, even Breeze, 17 touchdowns, 16 picks.
Yeah. All right. Nothing crazy that's popping out that like, oh, here's the guys. They can't be touched.
And the yard, like I feel like a good year for yards was like 3,500 and above.
Yeah.
And then if you got to 4,000, you just had like a ridiculous year.
Yeah.
Because there's 4 guys right there with only over 4,000.
No, I agree. Oh, Rich Gannon was the MVP that year.
Classic. Oh, he was born in Philadelphia? I didn't know that.
Okay, so yeah, nothing crazy. I mean, yeah, Mike Vick's one there. Rich Gannon throwing for 4,600 yards, pretty ridiculous. But all right, let's jump to 2012.
All right, here we go.
Nothing crazy. Maybe we were too young. Maybe I just don't know the guys well enough.
2012.
Already, look at the yards. Look at the difference.
Oh my goodness. All right, so yeah, let's just.
Yeah, we had.
Oh my, over 4,000.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 over 4,000 in 2002.
Oh my word.
What do we got?
It's like the top 10 are 4,000.
11 or 4,000.
So I mean, and this is most people in our age group remember these guys the most, but this is what I'm thinking of. Like when
Look
I'm
at
thinking,
touchdowns.
Whoa, 39-8 for Rodgers.
So yeah, Drew Brees 5,000 passing yards, 43 touchdowns. Matt Stafford almost 5,000 yards. Tony Romo almost 5,000 yards. Tom Brady a 34-8 TD to pick ratio. Matt Ryan, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, Aaron Rodgers, only 4,200 yards, but a 39-8 TD to pick ratio is ridiculous. Josh Freeman, Carson Palmer, 2 guys hanging in there over 4,000, and Matt Schaub, who was fairly relevant for a good bit, especially on some of those Texan teams. And then that didn't even crack the 4,000 yards. Eli Manning, Cam Newton, Joe Flacco, like notable guys.
Why do they have a picture for Matt Schaub and not like Tony Romo? I'm very confused on that.
Or Carlson Palmer.
Yeah, I'm very confused on the picture. No picture.
Also, it's crazy that Stafford was second in the league in passing yards, but only had 20 touchdowns. Everyone else has like over 25. Like,
No, that is insane. I didn't even
that's
see
kind of
that.
crazy. All of his yards, and he had 20 touchdowns.
But this is like, okay,
Look how many times Rodgers was sacked
Dang.
compared to everyone else. Like Breeze was sacked 26 times and Rodgers 51. Well, there goes luck. 41.
It was the most in 2002. I didn't see that.
I don't even I didn't look at that actually.
Oh, 54. Oh my
Bledsoe,
God.
50. I guess I
And a
can
47 piece for Dante Culpepper.
Oh,
What the heck?
David Carr was sacked
76.
76 times. That's got what the record.
oh my gosh, Derek Carr's brother David Carr sacked
Almost got
76
he,
times
he got
in a,
sacked for 400 yards.
in a 16 game season. So I trying to do some quick math. He's getting sacked like was that 4 times a game? Over 4 times a game. He's getting sacked.
Yeah, Rogers was the most by 51 in 2012. That's ridiculous. 70 sacks? What? I think he was the number one pick or like a top 5 pick that year too. So I'm pretty sure he was like a rookie.
Yep, David Carr's the most ever.
That year.
Was
2000
76.
2002, 76. Second is 72, 1986, Cunningham. And then third is 2005, David Carr at 68.
No wonder his career didn't last long.
I know. He's just getting blasted back there.
It's an insane amount of sacks. He got 2 of the top 3 all time of sacks.
That's like 4 years worth for most of these other guys.
Jeez, poor guy.
In 2
Yeah.
seasons.
But like, look, I'm just looking at this 2012
yeah.
list more, and there's guys that I haven't even named yet. Phillip Rivers, Russell Wilson. I mean, RG3 with the 20 TDs to 5 pick ratio, Ben Roethlisberger. So now we're up to, I think I've listed 16 quarterbacks. So we're talking half the league now, where at least 6 to 7 are future Hall of Famers, Super Bowl champions left and right, consistent football. They played for the same team for a good chunk of their career. They were, a starter, winning football games, getting down to the playoffs. I mean, Rivers never won anything, but they had some good Chargers teams and they made the playoffs a lot. I mean, Matt Ryan, another one. This is just what I'm talking about. So this is 2012. This is over 10 years ago, and half the league are guys that basically anybody from ages 50 to like 10 probably know and have seen them play some because their careers were long too.
Yeah.
Also, can we see how many 40-yard plus throws they had in both years? All right, so
Josh Freeman leading that category.
Who did he play for again?
For the Bucs.
Buccaneers.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
I mean, look at even Josh Freeman over 4,000 yards. Like, that's crazy.
27 and 17. That's a respectable year. That's a year that gets you paid.
2002, 40 plus.
Not a lot.
No.
No. And I know the game was probably 2002. We're probably
wow.
not fully into passing games yet, but I feel like 2012 even I feel like 5-6 years ago you had guys just popping off left and right. But I mean, Drew Brees throwing for over 5,000 yards. We have an extra game this year. I'm assuming, are we going to have a 5,000-yard passer this year? I mean, we're going to get there. We're going to be able to look at it, but just
That's
16. I listed 16 QBs right there that are have proven themselves. All right, let's jump to 2022.
And just for the record, 2012, I was just curious who won MVP, and it was Adrian Peterson.
The year after he tore his ACL, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the only time I ever won fantasy football.
There you go.
This was AP.
Yep, AP and Arian Foster. I don't know where Aaron Foster is, but
2022.
All right, so this is last year, and I think there will be a drop off, but we'll see when we look at the list.
Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 9 over 4,000.
Okay, which is less. And then if you just go through those 9, though, like okay, Mahomes is an obvious one.
Herbert.
Justin Herbert. I don't know. I feel like he's going to be in that 11 to 16 range if we go to the other list. Tom Brady, obvious. Kirk Cousins, another one. He was actually on the 2012 list. I didn't even name him.
He's a great regular season quarterback.
But again, so like, okay, Joe Burrow, I could say, yeah, Jared Goff, Josh Allen, Geno Smith, and Trevor Lawrence. Those are your 4,000-yard guys. I mean, couple really young ones still. And I don't know. I just not a lot there. So let's go down to the next 5 or 6. Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers, Tua, Russell Wilson, and Derek Carr. So, okay, Hurts been to the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers, obviously, that's a big one. Tua, nothing yet. Russell Wilson, another down year. Classic. We've looked at two seasons and 2 down years for Russ Wilson. I don't know. Just looking at this list that has Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers that 2023 will not have, and I still feel like there's just not a ton there for me, which probably is why we're trending down, especially going into 2023. I don't know what do you guys think?
Yeah, I also just looking at the numbers preliminarily, the touchdown to interceptions are way cleaner. Like there's a lot of guys with single digit interceptions and more touchdowns.
Yeah, that's true. I think is it fairly comparable to 2020 to 2012?
I feel like a lot of those guys had like double
Yeah.
digit
More
interceptions.
receptions, more
Only
touchdowns.
only
too.
Rodgers and Brady had less than
Okay.
less than 10, whereas you got Goff, Lawrence, Tua, Brady, Hurts down here, only 22 picks, but
Andy Dalton, surprisingly.
Andy Dalton.
Okay. So
Even Lamar. Again, not a lot, not the same like
Jimmy
touchdown.
G.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it just seems like there's more touchdowns than
what a
That's true.
ridiculous year by Mahomes. Like,
oh yeah.
like
5,000 yards. Yeah.
41 to 12 touchdown to pick. Like that's crazy.
So right
What's
now,
up?
though, are you taking this batch or the 2012 batch, or do you think it's pretty similar? I feel like the 2012 edges them a tad, but you're right. TD to pick is pretty clean here. So
Yeah, like there's less guys with 4,000 yards, but it seems like they're throwing more touchdowns.
yeah, and I mean, look. So Ben pulled up where we like this sack stat, right? So Ben pulled it up, and there's only 2 players over 50: Russell Wilson, Justin Fields. So I mean, they're getting sacked less, they're throwing less picks. There's just the game evolving
is
is
the lowest
probably
starter.
It's hard because looking at those, like we grew up with certain guys, and I mean, you can look at
True.
the 2012 list, and most of their careers are either towards the end or winding down, and you already know what they are. So, like Breeze, Hall of Famer, Stafford, probably a Hall of Famer, Brady, Hall of Famer, Matt Ryan, Hall of Famer, Manning, Hall of Famer, Rodgers, Hall of Famer, Eli, probably a Hall of Famer, Flacco, maybe borderline. I don't know. Roethlisberger, Hall of Famer. Like all these guys, are Hall of Famers and like greats for their team. Whereas now we don't know. Like I don't think Herbert, unless he gets
No.
help, is going to be anything. But
And
Lawrence might be in 5 years. He might be considered on that same trajectory too.
true, but also I mean, the game favors QBs and
Yeah.
offenses now.
I mean, I
more.
like the 2012 one just because that's I'm always going to be more like if we look at 2012 like baseball like teams and like rosters, like I'm gonna love me some Dan Uggla, Brandon Phillips, like we all do.
True, true, but I mean, Mahomes is the obvious one. But
Yeah,
all right, let's jump to this year.
yeah. I mean, I think out of this group, like to me, Lawrence stands out.
That's a good one. Yeah, he's fair.
I think Hurts just based on the team around him, he's going to continue to be successful. Like the Eagles are just such a talented team.
I mean, I'm just thinking like Justin Herbert, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, Geno Smith. Like, there's just not a lot there for me.
I mean, Goff might sell a lot in the tank with Detroit.
Yeah, he could prove me wrong.
But
he could be.
I agree. I mean, it's hard to know. Burrow's great, but yeah, I can't stay on the field. All right, let's look at 2020. Okay, so quarterback. So far,
are we going to have a 5,000-yard passer this year?
I don't know, but right now we got Sam Howell, CJ Stroud, and Tua as the top 3.
All within like.
I will allow CJ Stroud to be in there because it's still a small sample size, but he's done well so far. Sam Howell, no thank you. Tua could be a system guy. Josh Allen, Jared Goff again. Purdy could be a system guy. Herbert's there again. Still don't trust him.
Purdy is 100% a system guy. 100%.
Yeah.
And then
So is
you have
Geno
You take
Smith.
you take away McCaffrey or Debo, he's done. He's
But then
toast.
Dak, okay, Mahomes, okay, Lamar, okay. Then you have Geno again, Baker Mayfield, and then Trevor Lawrence, who like
But
I don't know.
even the Jags are what are the Jags? 8-3, 7-3,
Yeah, and Lawrence is
and
thrown for
yeah, 11 touchdowns and 6 picks.
Yo, hold on. Sam Howell's already been sacked 51 times.
Oh,
He's about to break that
Wait,
record.
hold on. So Sam
Howell already 51 sacks, and we're about halfway through the season, right?
Yeah. So
we're over halfway. We're over.
so if you guys
halfway.
don't know, 2002 David Carr at 76 sacks is the all-time record. Sam Howell is on pace to break that.
Yeah.
Oh my
easily.
goodness, he has gotten pummeled 51 times. Hopefully not. Hopefully doesn't get pummeled enough to get himself injured, and he can stay out there and continue to
Yeah.
get pummeled.
They were rooting for you, Sam.
Yeah. And Zach Wilson, had you continue to start, maybe you gave a run for that money too.
Yeah.
38.
Yeah, Bryce Young is not going to hold up if that keeps trucking either. We talked about how small he is.
But it's just
That's
crazy. I mean,
crazy.
this is this year so far, and last year, so that's 2 years. And I'm just looking.
Wait,
at
Tommy
the list.
DeVito's already like top 10. How many games has he started?
He's only been in 2, I think.
He's
He's only
already-
started 2 games.
Been sacked 22 times. Jeez.
Well, the
That's
Cowboys
so
took off
crazy.
on him.
But yeah, it's
I
just
can't believe Sam Howell's 51.
That's
notice
insane.
that.
We didn't think that was like last year was even pretty low.
But we have kind of shit on Russell Wilson a lot, but right now he is leading the league in the touchdown interception ratio at 19-4
Yeah.
for those Broncos who started off 1-5 and now they're 5-5, beating the Chiefs, Bills, and now Vikings.
And he's been sacked 32 times, so his offensive line is not helping him.
No.
No, and they haven't been able to really run the ball with Javonte Williams much either. He only has
Well,
one
they ran it
touchdown on
last week.
one touchdown on the year.
Oh, I wonder when that happened.
Actually, if you would have asked me before we looked at the numbers for Josh Allen, I would have said he's probably in the league leaders for sacks against, and he only has 14. So
Yeah.
it doesn't even seem that bad. Although
No,
he
it's
seems
not.
like he's getting wrecked all the time.
Yeah. 40 plus yard completions. We got top 4: Derek Carr, Baker, Brock, and Tua.
See, that's not it.
Again, I wouldn't have guessed that top 4.
The TD to pick ratio today is a lot better. I'm sure penalties and the way that everything plays helps a lot. I don't know. Just my top 4 right here. I mean, Carr, Mayfield, Purdy, Tua. There's a chance at least 3 out of the 4 end the season under 10 picks, but I don't care about that. I'm just not believing in them to take them down, win a crucial game in a 2-minute drill, and then go to the playoffs and like win a road game or something.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think the interceptions seem to be a little bit trending higher than what they were last year. Because there's already guys who are already almost at 10, and some guys who
Yeah.
are obviously over 10, but a lot of
Yeah.
8s on here, 6s. So those are guys
Yeah.
who could possibly end up with double digit.
Yeah, I mean it's weird. Like it's just weird because you got like the Chiefs and the Eagles and I mean the Cowboys and Dolphins all with like amazing records, but their quarterback play, like we've talked about, like
It's not
is
even-
not that great.
There
Same
are
with
some
Trevor
games-
Lawrence. Like
There's some games where they pop off.
yeah,
But yet consistent QB play. Like, I don't know. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I get it. I grew up in 2012. Like, that's what I'm going to remember the most. But is there a chance that was like the best QB era ever?
Yeah, I was gonna say we should see pass interference as if they've gone up. Obviously, probably, but like what it
Yeah,
was in
well, and-
2012 versus what it is now.
And the biggest thing right now, Chase, the last 2 years is underthrowing balls on purpose.
Yeah, to
That's
get
been huge.
Yeah. That's the old Aaron Rodgers move. He used to just get a pass. He would be like 3rd and 10. He's like, I'm just going to get a 50-yard pass interference right here. He would just
Yeah.
lob one up to Jordy Nelson and it'd be like a little outside, but he get the pass interference call.
yeah, we'll have to look at that. I mean, from the eye test, I feel like there's so many more penalties being called, but I
Yeah.
also I don't have stats to actually back that up. So it'll be interesting to see.
No.
But
I will over the middle is the biggest thing. I know rules changed mid 2000s, but I think it took a while to actually get used to that 5 to 6 to 7 years. But the over the middle passes, how much more of the field QBs have because they know they're not going to get lit up
Yeah.
by Brian Dawkins, Ray Lewis. I mean, even
Vontez Burfict, James Harrison,
okay, James.
no guys who have murder charges against them for people over the middle.
But I mean, I know, and those are all penalties, but that's just how guys played still. Like, I mean, even Brady talked about how he would try never to put the ball where his wide receiver would get lit up. And nowadays it's like, I don't know. I've seen some guys like throw some not even back shoulder throws and they would get lit up. Players are sometimes afraid to go all out.
And real quick, as we're wrapping up some of this quarterback talk, I just want to. So we just talked about 2023. Obviously, that's through week 11, excluding Hurts and Mahomes, who haven't played yet. But let's just quickly look at 2022 and kind of what the quarterbacks were doing through week 11 also. And so this is last year through week 11, kind of just looking at where some of these guys were at. So
Damn, Justin Fields had 40 sacks last year at this point.
Chase, you're obsessed with those sack stats.
Because it kills your offense. That's why I'm so surprised that literally Sam Howell has 3,000 yards, but he's been sacked 51 times. So think of how many more yards he would have if he got sacked 30 times.
I mean, Fields is at 26 this year, and how many games did he miss? How many games was he out for?
4.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
So, but I mean, you had obviously Mahomes with 28-7, just over 3,000. You also, I mean, last year, same time, only one guy over 3,000 yards at the same point. This year, I don't know if anyone would have predicted it would be Sam Howell, but
no.
And there's an extra game now. There's a chance we don't have a 5,000-yard passer this year, and there's literally an extra game.
Yeah, Mahomes already had 28 touchdowns by this point. I mean, he finished the year with 40, but
no, I mean,
so this year, 2022 and 2023 aren't that different. I mean, 2022 they finished out strong, so maybe 2023 will surprise me. I don't know. The last couple of years, even with the rules and the talent and the points, it just seems like the QBs haven't been as stellar.
Yeah, a lot more. Yeah, I think like Chase said, I think the picks are up.
That's true. Picks are up this year compared to last year.
Yeah, I mean, ratio got a lot better touchdown interception ratios here look at Hurts, 15-3 at this point last year.
There's a handful of guys with under sub 5.
18-3. Yeah, a bunch that are under 5, actually, like 5 or below. Derek Carr, Hurts, Gino, Tua,
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G's known for picks.
Tom Brady.
Yeah. Marcus Mariota's up there at number 9 with a 13-7 touchdown.
Oh,
yeah.
Is he still backing up somewhere?
Yeah, he's
on
the
Oh.
Yeah.
See, that's like, no, I'm not going to go back to the Jets, but like if the Jets had Marcus Mariota, he would at least do something for the offense. Something.
Yeah.
Every team has that depth they want, and you don't know why they don't fill it. And for the Jets, it's QB depth.
Yep.
I mean, if they were the team that traded for Josh Dobbs at the outset of the preseason, they'd be in a pretty good spot right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the Josh Dobbs love is real in the league.
No, but you know what? It's just like the way Geno Smith was last year. Like he just got into a good system, had 2 really good, reliable running wide receivers. Just an offense where he doesn't have to do it. Like it's like with Purdy. It's like just get the ball to these guys. Like you don't have to do anything crazy with it. It's not like he's going out there slinging it all over the place. Like if Geno Smith has 25 attempts in a game, that's like probably pretty high for him. And anything over is just they were down and had to throw.
Yeah, like Teddy Bridgewater on the lines right now. I'd take him in a heartbeat as a plug-in guy. Teddy Bridgewater picture. Good Lord. I feel like they did him a little dirty on that one.
Was that the only one he has right now?
Yeah.
Well, that is buns. He must have pissed someone off at Pro Football Reference.
I feel like there's definitely some better pictures they could have had. Damn.
Make this a real. Make this a real. You gotta make this a real.
This just looks like they did him really dirty on this. I mean, come on.
You gotta make this a real.
Right?
Yeah. Also, I didn't know his nickname was Teddy Two Gloves. I've never heard that.
No one calls him that.
Teddy Two Loves.
If he didn't blow his leg out, what was his trajectory in Minnesota?
He wasn't that far in, I feel like.
All right, so he had 2 years under his belt before it happened, and he
That was a fun one. Just kind of diving into that. We don't really have necessarily an answer, but it's kind of just interesting to
It's definitely down. Maybe not picks, but the play and the yards the last 2 years are down.
for sure.
And just the consistency. I mean, there's plenty of 400-yard games, and then there's plenty of duds. So
yeah.
consistency, reliability. I think it's down. I feel like this proves it. I mean, 2002 didn't really help me, but 2012 did. So,
And the game shifted, I would say, more in favor of quarterbacks too.
yep,
Like it's way easier. Like I wonder if you took 2002 players and played them now, how different it would be
yeah,
with the
yeah.
rules.
It's like the big guys in the modern era talk with the NBA.
Yeah. Like this the whole thing is like shifted.
Yep.
Yeah, and as we're getting out of starting QBs, let's quickly dive into a starting pitcher. And you guys, Phillies, I mean, big offseason acquisition really early. Got to be exciting. Resign Aaron Nola. I saw he, like a few other guys, have took less money to re-sign with the Phils early offseason. But how we feeling?
Yeah. So my initial thoughts were I heard at the beginning of the season that they didn't want to give him over 5 years. So obviously, oh, as you just mentioned, he took less money, but the concession for the Phillies was they went up to 7 years. And it also contains no opt-out clauses or club options, which I think is pretty unheard of, especially this day and age for baseball contracts that go over 5 years. Right now, I can't even think of anyone that has a deal that's over 5 with no opt-outs or no player options. For the Phillies, though, you lock up your number two, and it's a guy who's been here, someone you're familiar with. You know what we're going to get from Nola. It's been relatively healthy, and production wise, you can pretty much say the back of his baseball cards what you're gonna get from him. So it can't be too mad. I don't think the money's the worst ever. It's just the years and what they're gonna do when he gets to the end of this contract is interesting to me.
Yeah, Chase, I want to ask a question. So, no like player options, opt out things, but that doesn't mean like I feel like that doesn't hurt the team, right? Because they can always trade him. I mean, I guess if he gets hurt and
They're still on the hook for the money though, unless the other team takes
yeah, but like
portions
let's
of it.
say Nola gets 4 years into the deal, gets hurt for 2 years, he's not going to opt out of that, right? Like he would still be able to get paid all that money. Like either way, like it.
Well, there's no opt out clauses. I mean, there's certain
Oh, like the Phillies can't opt out at all.
neither. I mean, the Phillies or
No
the
sides.
yeah,
Yeah.
neither side can opt out.
Well, so I'm saying like it seems like it's a worse for the Phillies situation, but Nola is also locked in. So
Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah.
also
I
depends.
mean,
Certain
yeah.
contracts have like injury clauses in there. Like a team could get paid out if like a team if
Yeah,
like
if
if
they get
someone
it insured.
like yeah like the Nationals for example did not get insurance on the Strasburg deal, so they had to pay every last penny to Strasburg for his time because they were so cheap and didn't get the insurance.
Yeah. And also, I don't know how the Phillies have been structuring their mega deals. So it could be that they have a lot of money up front or they spread it out over a bunch of years. So maybe it's not as bad. I haven't
I
really seen
saw
it.
I saw it was in line with like Rodon's annual value. Wheeler, Gusman, Rodon's like maybe like 26, 25, 26 million a year type.
For every year.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
mean,
you're right. There could be like first 4 years of that, and then they might like, I don't know. That's just what
Yeah.
it's saying, but
Because
we
I
don't
know,
have.
like, I know when the Nationals were unloading the Brinks truck, they spread all of those deals out over like 20 years.
Well, yeah, the Nationals are known for backloading,
Yeah.
and same with the Orioles. Like they're paying Chris Davis, I think, until 2035 or something like that.
Yeah.
Everyone talks
Like
about
they
Bobby.
really spread it out. So, I mean, the Phillies could have went that route maybe. And like maybe like you're saying, Ryan, maybe after 4 years it gets spread out over like six or something like that. Or
yeah.
I'd be interested because I don't even know how Bryce Harper's deal is actually set up or Trey Turner's. I have no idea. Like I don't know if it's full on just for 10 years or if it's like 15 or 20 years. I haven't ever actually seen anyone be able to bring that up.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Nola, I'm excited. I love him. He's Chase, we talked about last year. He was involved with the end of the 2008 Phillies, and now he's going to hopefully be involved in his own World Series team. And that's the biggest thing for me. It's hard to win a World Series, not expecting them to win 5 out of the next 7 years. But if they win one in the next 3, 4 years, and maybe somehow two in the next 5 to 6, like if they win one in the next 4 years and Nola, fizzles out, it's a win to
Oh
me.
yeah.
If Nola
Yeah.
contributes to them winning a World Series now, it's a win. And for me, contracts, I'm fine with it because it's as simple to me. You sign 7 years. I mean, I know he's going to be 37 when he's done, but nowadays, plenty of pitchers, 38, 39, 40, 41, can still play at a decent level. And Nola doesn't throw anything crazy hard where he's going to like completely just destroy his arm like Syndergaard or maybe some of the other guys do. I'm not saying it's not sketchy because if he has a career-ending injury in year two, it's a problem. But it's also kind of cool. Like my biggest hate for the Sixers is how much they rotate, and especially
Yeah.
with today's media. And if they win or lose, oh no, I don't. We got to get rid of guys. We got to keep guys. So now you have Harper, Turner, and Nola, who've all been playing. This was Turner's second year? Or is this his first?
First.
This was his
First.
first year. So, like the next 5 years, those three guys you can count on. Like, that's cool to me. That's cool. I know they're all going to be older, and at some point, it's going to become like the Phillies in 2012, 2013, when you're like, oh my gosh, they still have Howard, Utley, and Rollins, and they can't do anything. But if they win
Yeah.
the World Series, they're all going to be loved, and it's all going to be worth it. And I like Nola. He's consistent. Like you said, he's like the back of the baseball card, and it's just someone you want to root for. And he proved that he can get past the pitch clock hump because of how slow of a pitcher he is, and it just makes me excited too because the organization is willing to back these guys. Like he's been through it all, and they're not just going to throw him to the curb. I'm not saying it's the best move. I'm just saying I like it, and I'm excited that he's on the team.
And just for continuity purposes, it's nice to keep a guy around. And like you said, they have a new core and it's exciting. Bryson Stott's probably going to get an extension soon. Whether or not they keep Bohm or not, if they do, then that's just another core guy. JT is in there. So, it's just nice to have a team that you can continue to trot out, hopefully be competitive. And,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah. I mean,
it's a nice feeling.
we didn't even talk about Reese Hoskins officially basically being done when they gave Bryce Harper the starting first base job moving forward. But Reese and Nola were the two longest tenured guys. I like Nola a lot more than Reese. So if you're going to keep one, lose one, I'm cool with this deal. I still don't know if Harper can. He doesn't seem like he plays that good at first, and he played really good outfield. But I guess with his arm injuries and stuff, I get it. He just needs to not get hurt catching balls at first.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like, okay, like they just dumped Reese Hoskins to the curb, but it was a little bit different situation because of the injury and everything right before a big signing. He never really proved himself. Nola bet on himself. And the Phillies, are like, okay, we're going to reward you with a 7-year deal. And I don't know how all of the work. It's crazy, like 13, 10, and 7-year deals. Like you would think, oh, they have no more money to spend, but they're in a really good rotation now. And I mean, Sam talked about just the whole flow of the organization through the minors, up through the majors, and how that guys can come up and down, and they can just do these little deals around the deadline to pick up the pieces they need. And I think signing Nola to 7 years doesn't hurt them at all in this factor.
I think that puts them at, I think it's at 252 million, which is like 5 million below the threshold. So, it depends on what they want to do. If there's another place they want to cut something, or, I would think they want to look for some bullpen help, or unless they're going to have Alvarado as like the closer with Kimbrel, assuming he's gone. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a great deal. I know it's 7 years. Hell yeah, Ben. You know how I feel about the Phillies, but I think Nola has shown no signs of not being durable. He's he's a workhorse pitcher who's, you guys have won with a really good 1-2 punch in the National League, and he's to have a guy who's been with the organization that long, and then to keep him there for essentially his whole career, even if he does go somewhere else at the end of that. I think it's a good deal. I mean, it's a little longer than maybe you would like, but even if he's 5 years of the same durable Nola and then 2 years of like whatever, like you take that all day. You could have way worse situations, like the Nationals trying to get like the same deal essentially with like Patrick Corbin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's so easy to trash on deals because it's like draft picks. It's a
I was salty when
gamble.
I heard it because I think it's a good deal.
Yeah, I'm hyped because a lot of it's easier to get mad at deals. It's easier to get mad at draft picks because there's a lot more room to, for error and stuff. But
Yeah. And I mean, I guess realistically too, what was Wheeler's 5 for 150 or something?
Yeah, we can check that out real quick.
Wheeler's
So
on what? How many years has Wheeler played? Chase two with the
four,
Three.
Phillies.
I think.
Oh,
Oh,
four.
three. Yeah.
This is his last year upcoming.
Oh wow, I didn't even realize he's on the team for 4 years
5 year,
already.
118. Great deal.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, yeah. 5 years, 118. I would do that deal
Yeah.
any day of the week.
You know who didn't make that deal?
The
The
Mets.
Mets.
Looking at that 2015 team, it was like at the time, who are we going to keep? How are we going to afford all these pitchers?
Didn't keep any
I
of
have none of them. None of
them.
them.
Yeah, they had the
Yeah.
opposite problem. You had starter depth, and you chose to be like the Jets and just not have starter
I
depth.
mean, it wasn't all the Mets. You had DeGrom stayed up until this past year.
Yeah.
Syndergaard, wasn't the same. Harvey's not the same. Matz wasn't really the same. You didn't have like star closer Jairus Familia that was the same.
Oh, is that the
Oh
guy that got
man.
suspended?
No, no.
Oh,
He was with the Phillies. You
who?
remember him? He
Oh
was.
yeah, who's the guy that got suspended?
I'm not even
Henry
talking
Oh,
about
it's
Mejia.
him.
no,
He's
no,
not mentioned on the
it's
podcast.
Henry Mejia.
It's Henry.
And then who's the dude that wore the hat that was like the Super Mario hat?
Oh, Alex
Oh,
Torres.
that's it. Okay.
He
Yeah.
wore a hard helmet hat for pitchers that was obnoxiously big.
Yeah, that was a trend that died with
That
him.
died real quick.
Oh yeah.
It might have
But
started and died with just that one guy.
And even die with J.A. Happ, who got pelted in the head twice.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's a good deal, especially now that we just compared both things.
Yeah.
Two of your two starters deals. It's not bad. And also, like we were saying, Nola does pitch a lot of innings. He's kind of an old school pitcher, which I like, because especially the game today isn't really about getting a lot of inning work, but I think in the end he's a pitcher that saves your bullpen. He gets you ready for the postseason and he can do it. Plus, also he could, I don't consider this. You just think he's going to be a starter forever, but there's always guys who later in their year transition to like a middle relief position and can do stuff. I mean, Nola is pretty deadly in just a 1 inning or 2 inning scenario. I mean, there's so many times where he locks down the first six hitters, no problem. He's in and out. So, I mean, if he always can keep his stuff and he's not really like he doesn't live and die with velocity. He's more just his movement and then works the secondary pitches. So he could
Yeah.
always just transition and just to being even if he's a Joe Blanton guy, just 6 innings, you know what you're getting, nothing past that, nothing short of that.
I was I was gonna say like even like years 6 and 7, like a Jamie Moyer type player.
Yeah, like if he gets 4 innings, if he does what Christopher Sanchez does now, I'd live with that.
But the next couple of years, I mean, between him, Wheeler, Walker, who's only pitched one of a 4 year deal, right?
Wheeler's just next
Yeah.
year.
I
Yeah.
know, but like that's what I mean. Next year, him, Wheeler, Walker, hopefully you can get them pitching at least 6 innings a game where you only have to rely on three pitchers. And then if they get 7 or 8 innings and you want to do a little closer by committee, then guys get to rest. So
Yeah. But the
easier said than
window's
done.
now. The window
Yes.
is next year. I mean, it's nice that they got a 7 year deal, but they have to make moves for next season in
Yeah.
mind.
And I mean, Wheeler, I think what's he going to be 33, 34 at the end of this upcoming year. So I don't know what type of contract he's going to want or get. Yeah, he's 33 now. So by the end of the year, he'll be 34, pushing 35. So you could always, who knows, maybe you guys re-sign him for a 2-year, $40 million contract
Oh
if
yeah.
he's still
If
doing his
he
thing.
wants, yeah, if he wants to help
Yeah.
us win, and
Yeah. But just, and real quick, just, just a couple other baseball notes here in the off season. We had the Hall of Fame ballot released. Couple newcomers, David Wright and Chase Utley, among
Oh.
on the ballot, including Jose Reyes too and Bartolo Colon. But um, Ali has a shot. Definitely not on the first go around, but
does
he
Bartolo Colon have a
no, he's
shot?
going to be off the ballot.
Okay.
He's got like 2 PED suspensions, I think, right? Doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
David Wright, if he just had like 3 more years of prime, would be a legit contender, but he didn't have enough time.
Who's possibly getting dumped off the ballot this year? Who's in their last year? Oh, just
Gary
that's it.
Sheffield is probably done.
And Billy Wagner is 9, so if he doesn't get it done,
Billy Wagner is one more after this. I think Billy Wagner's not going to get in this year, and I think he's going to get in this final year based on the way the numbers look. I think this year is probably going to be Todd Helton and Adrian Beltre. Are they going to be the two that get in? I think Beltre is probably no brainer Hall of Fame first
yeah.
ballot. Helton, I think, is trending in that direction.
Was Matt Holliday a shortstop?
No,
I was way off.
His son's a shortstop.
yeah, Jackson.
Oh.
So yeah, I think those are two. And then other news, Yamamoto, that Japanese pitcher's got posted or is getting posted this week. I know the Mets are in on that, so we'll see. Then a couple other just quick signings. Braves signed Ronaldo Lopez, 3-year, $30 million deal. Another bullpen help. Saw the Cardinals sign Lance Lynn back in St. Louis for him. So some stuff happening in free agency. Dang. Well, we'll talk more as more signings come through. See where some of these guys go. Yeah, I know Otani's a big one. Feels like he's going to stay out west somewhere. Maybe Giants, Dodgers. Giants have been in like all the big contracts. Like Harper, they were in on him. It seems like they've just missed out on.
Correa, Judge.
Yep. Oh yeah, I forgot about Judge too. So yeah, they've missed out on a few, and I could see them forking over a boatload of money. I mean, left-handed Shohei just raking into a McCovey's Cove be a fun sight.
Oh yeah.
I'd be down for that. Still wouldn't be winning in the NL West with the Giants.
No.
Yeah, so I mean, some great talk there. NFL, talking some MLB, and I think we're gonna quickly wrap this one up, unless anyone else has anything to touch on.
Oh, yeah, just one quick point. Tobias Harris over the weekend dropped 29 points in a 76ers win. Still don't care about the NBA in-season tournament, but the Sixers are 10-3, second place in the Eastern Conference, and Toby is back, baby. So glad he's staying and appreciating his time on the court.
Agreed.
I like it. Shout out to Kevin Knox, too, starting for the Pistons, getting about 25, 30 minutes a game. Love to see it. So we appreciate everyone for listening. Check back in throughout the week on socials. We are going to be posting some stuff, and we are going to be live next week. So get hyped for it. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to have some fun content, and we're excited.
Oh yeah. Tell your friends and your mom.
There it was. See you, everyone.